Can you all remain standing for a moment of silence to allow individual prayer and meditation? Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me recognize the presence of the Premier, members of the Executive Council, members of the Provincial Legislature, Chief Whip of the Majority Party, leaders of political parties. Thank you very much for attending, the media and guests that are invited. I know that we will be having guests or invited guests. The chairperson of committees from Eguruleni, Councillor Nozipho Mabuza, the chairperson of the petitions in Eguruleni, Councillor Nketle, the MMC for Human Settlement, Councillor Duba, Councillor Jackson Makaleng from Eguruleni, and Councillor Anastasia Mutawung. We also have guests from Carltonville, Mr. Mkonto and Mr. Ranuka. Those are the guests that I have their names sent to me. Thank you very much. We are all welcome. Let me also remind members, Let me remind members that this meeting is an extension of SOPA, wherein the Premier will be replying. If I may remind you of the rule that we are going to use for today's meeting, Rule 17, subsection 3. So it is important that we should actually deal with those issues. We can only deal with, let me remind you that the only business that may be conducted at the sitting will be the business for which it has been designated, which is a right of reply by the Premier. Further than that, we're going to use Rule 95, subsection 2, which provides that a reply in a debate closes the debate. There can't be any discussions after that. As such, Rule 80, subsection 5 will not be applicable for this particular meeting. Let me therefore allow the Secretary to read the order.
Reply to the debate on the State of the Province address.
Let me call upon the Premier.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Ntombi Mihwe, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Dikhamuilwa, the Chief Whip, Honorable Brian Tlongwa, Honorable members of the Executive Council, Honorable members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, and all distinguished guests. Allow me to first thank all honorable members who took part in the important debate on the State of the Province address, especially those who did so robustly and vigorously without resorting to the distasteful hurling of personal insults or ridiculing those with whom you disagree. I shall return to this manner of discussing and conducting debates in the House later. Madam Speaker, yesterday's robust debate helped me not only to understand whether our plan for Gauteng is understood, agreed, or disagreed. The debate also helped me to understand the state of parties in this legislature and the seriousness with which they discuss issues facing the people of our province as required. Honorable members, let me remind you that on the 27th of June 2014, we in the governing party put forward a compelling and persuasive program for transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization of Gauteng as an economic hub of South Africa and a leading industrial economy in our continent. On Monday, the 23rd of February this year, we went further to unpack in the most comprehensive way a bold plan through the 10-pillar program, which will practically help us to realize our vision to turn Gauteng into a globally competitive city region that is seamlessly integrated, that is socially cohesive and economically inclusive, which is a leading economy in the continent characterized by smart, innovation-driven, knowledge-based, and sustainable industries. A city region with an accountable, responsive, transparent, and clean government, and an active citizenry. We have outlined the structural problems of our economy and our space, and the key elements of radical economic and spatial transformation, as well as the macro interventions to change the current colonial structure of our economy and apartheid spatial patterns through a new spatial perspective of 5 corridors. We have mobilized support and won over key sectors of our province population, including civil society and the private sector, to embrace this program for radical transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization. Madam Speaker, the first thing I want to indicate is that our sound vision for a future Gauteng and the persuasive program of the transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization of our province have not been challenged by any party in any serious way that sought to put forward an alternative vision and program on the table in this legislature. Except for those out of lack of intellectual depth who resorted to insults or ridicule. I therefore would like to reaffirm that we are absolutely committed to the vision and program for transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization of our city region. I deeply appreciate the reaffirmation by those honorable members in this House who believe in the TMR's potential to address the fundamental structural problems of our economy and society. Of course, there are those who have revealed their true colors about their inherent hostility to the program for transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization by trivializing macro interventions and the comprehensive plan put forward in SOPA to build a Gauteng city region that is economically inclusive, socially cohesive, and spatially transformed. Firstly, some honorable members have exposed their hidden philosophical hostility and historic cynicism to the task of radical transformation by either positing it as a dream or as a figment of imagination which is not realistic. The time to pretend that we support the TMR is over. We now know who supports it and who doesn't support it. Let me say, I don't apologize for coming from a party that has a tradition to put forward the most powerful and persuasive dream that is difficult to oppose, and the Freedom Charter is an enduring example of this tradition. Leadership is first and foremost about the ability to put forward a powerful dream and the capacity and capability to win over others in order together to realize this dream. In his classic work, Servant Leadership, Robert K. Greenleaf had the following to say, I quote, "Not much happens without a dream. And for something great to happen, there must be a great dream. Behind every great achievement is a dreamer of great dreams. Much more than a dreamer is required to bring it to reality, but the dream must be there first," close quote. Yes, Madam Speaker, we in this side of the House have a dream that one day Gauteng shall be a province in which all our people enjoy all the benefits of living in a transformed, modernized, and re-industrialized economy where unemployment, poverty, and inequality are only memories of our painful past. No one is going to stop us from realizing this dream. No amounts of insults, cynicism, or ridicule will stop us from working tirelessly and selflessly to turn this dream into a reality. Honorable members, I accept the concerns of members who are worried whether we have set aside the requisite resources and deployed sufficient human capabilities to realize our vision and dream for transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization of Gauteng. This is a matter we have been addressing over the past 9 months to ensure full alignment of our organizational structure and resources to the TMR priorities. Honorable Moody, Honorable Sample, Honorable Sarupen, Honorable Stein, Honorable Msimanga, Honorable Ramli, for whatever differences we may have at a philosophical level, I don't doubt your commitment to the vision of the TMR. I'm willing to engage on some of the details and concerns you raised. For example, Honorable Moody has appealed to my intervention on the Sidibeng sewer scheme and the critical question of the acid mine drainage. I will intervene as indicated by MEC Mamabulo yesterday. However, Honorable Moody, there's something that we need to clarify. Your understanding of economic corridors is theoretically underdeveloped. Please read a new field called Economic Geography and Spatial Economy by scholars such as Harvey, Fujita, and Krugman. Because economic development corridors connect a cluster of industries, economic nodes, and economic hubs in a specified geographic area within either a city or between cities or between provinces or states or between countries. So the reconfiguration of our economy and space along 5 corridors will fundamentally change the economic fortunes and structures of our GCR. Because what you were saying is that what the 5 corridors don't constitute economic corridors. You need to understand the second important thing, that mobilizing private sector resources and aligning private sector initiatives with public interventions is a key function of a capable and developmental state called for by the National Development Plan, which you purport to support. Honorable Moody, as a leader of a party which subscribes to liberal philosophy and economic liberalism, you should be celebrating our genuine partnership with the private sector, because this is key for the creation of jobs and for our economy to grow, like Honorable Sarupen has correctly pointed out during the debate. The reason the private sector resources are critical is because the private sector remains the mainstay of fixed investment in the Gauteng economy, accounting for over 80% of gross fixed capital formation. So why is there a complaint that we are talking about private sector resources coming to help us transform the spatial landscape and the structure of the Gauteng economy? This is a misplaced concern. Honorable Sample has called for my intervention in the need to sign the MOU between DED and Randfontein that has long been outstanding on Mohlakeng Township Hub. She welcomed our energy mix plan and called for more details, and further raised concerns that incompetent and corrupt municipal leaders and officials will hold back the TMR. Honorable Sample, ANC members are not inherently corrupt or inherently incompetent. Those who are will face the wrath after due processes of the organization, of course. And I emphasize due processes of the organization. However, I do hope, Honorable Sample, that you are not one of those in your party who subscribe to this incredulous and crazy notion that ANC members are inherently corrupt and inherently incompetent. Honorable Sarupen welcomed the involvement of the private sector in the development of corridors and made a special case to show that delays in the rollout of the Erythropolis is an example of government failure to implement plans that have long been announced. I agree entirely with Honorable Sarupen's concerns because it is indeed true that there's been significant delay of the rollout of the Erythropolis. It is for this reason that we are now going to drive the Erythropolis provincially as a Gauteng City Region initiative working with the city of Ekurhuleni. However, Honorable Sarupen, I don't agree with your ideologically inspired view that the ANC policies inherently undermine the private sector investment. We are using the same policy framework of the ANC to unlock private sector participation in the TMR. We have an investment center to facilitate the ease of doing business and to reduce the cost of doing business. I've also announced during SOPA that we will now have an integrated approach to the environmental impact assessment to cut red tape and remove delays in obtaining development approvals. Honorable Msimanga has made a passionate plea asking for more information on the concrete commitments made by the private sector in support of the TMR interventions and in the regeneration of inner cities. He also called for leadership in fighting corruption and incompetency, and he pledged his support in this regard. He further asked for detailed information, as I said, on all the initiatives that we announced during SOPA. I want to reassure you, Honorable Msimanga, that our plan to root out corruption is solid and unprecedented in scale and substance, and we will soon appoint integrity management and anti-corruption champions in every department, including in the Premier's office. Your concern on our capacity to deliver the number of housing units that we mentioned is indeed valid, and we are overhauling the delivery capabilities of the human settlement departments. I appreciate your support and that we must and can win the war against corruption. I don't think you two share a view that the ANC is made up of people who are inherently corrupt or inherently incompetent. Honorable Ramulifo, happy birthday. Mbaure bakokobe. Nda. I share your concerns on the schools that don't have adequate basic infrastructure, the problem of overcrowding and corruption in our schools, especially the school governing bodies and the school management. However, your suggestion that we are neglecting basic infrastructure in favor of the Classroom of the Future project is really without any factual basis. During the course of the debate, you referred to we in the Western Cape. I thought you live here, Honorable Member. I appeal to you not to stop us to do what the Western Cape government is itself doing, which is rolling out ICT in the schools and various government buildings. There's no contradiction between attending to the basic infrastructure you referred to during the debate, ensuring that there are no bank stools in our current dispensation, and rolling the state-of-the-art ICT infrastructure. There's no contradiction. Honorable Ramulifo, I don't doubt your commitment to ensure that we improve the performance of our township schools. And let's therefore work together to make Gauteng education the best possible public education our children can ever get. Madam Speaker, allow me to turn my attention to aspects of the debates that are of great concern to me. I've come to believe after a few months here that there are different viewpoints and attitudes among members of the official opposition on the TMR, and I want to deal with that and treat that fully. Although some in the official opposition support the TMR, there are members of the opposition who display a disdain of this vision and program of transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization. And all the macro interventions outlined during SOPA on Monday. Having failed to put forward an alternative vision and plan for Gauteng, they try to ridicule this plan. Honorable members, ridiculing your opponents instead of tackling the kernel of their arguments and their policies is one of the ways in which parliamentary debates degenerate into high school type of debating standards. With due respect, Honorable Bloom, you cannot tackle the philosophical and intellectual strength of our program for transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization of Gauteng. You therefore resort to the only way you know how to debate, ridicule your opponent instead of focusing on their core ideas. This is a high school type of debating, Honorable Bloom. We all did this at school and at university. We all did this, Honorable Bloom. So for you, the TMR stands for Transcendental Meditation, far from the reality of Gauteng. Is that all you can say about the triple problems of unemployment, poverty, and inequality, and the exclusion of the overwhelming majority of our people from the mainstream economy? Are all these structural problems and realities and the macro interventions to change them imaginary and transcendental meditation? Is this the official view of the opposition in our province? Is this a view, or is it a view from a white liberal middle class male speaking from the suburban comfort zone? What a life of comfort and transcendental meditation far from the reality of grinding poverty. This line of argument is followed by other members of the official opposition, unfortunately. Honorable Moriarty, Honorable Fuchs, and Honorable Campbell have also come into the debate in the same way, ridiculing your opponent instead of dealing with the core ideas that they present forward. Honorable Fuchs revealed this. This fear. Honorable Fuchs revealed this commonly shared fear among some members of the opposition about the State of the Province address by saying the State of the Province address is the first draft of the ANC's 2016 manifesto. Is this really what the real fear is? Madam Speaker, we must not endeavor to put, excuse me, Madam Speaker, we have endeavored to put forward a bold plan before this House which will change the lives of ordinary men and women in our province because we want them to be incorporated in the mainstream of our economy. We are doing so not because we have some fears about our electoral fortunes. This explains why some members of the opposition have invested so much in questioning the viability of the concrete plans we have tabled before this House on the 23rd of February. These members even question why the private sector has bought into the TMR program and why the private sector is investing so much resources in supporting us, in helping us to transform the space and economy of our province, and in order to tackle poverty, unemployment, and inequality. One can only surmise that some amongst the members of the opposition think that they are the only people who must have the support of the private sector. And they don't want an ANC-led government to be working with the private sector to unlock the investment potential of this province. And instead, they would have loved that the private sector only invest in the Western Cape. Honorable members, I would like to listen to the ideas, particularly of the official opposition. But I'm confused. Which ideas should I listen to? Those that support the TMR or those that have significant doubt on the TMR? The people of Gauteng must be told the truth. I do accept constructive criticism, Honorable Lorimer. It's not the same as an inherent cynicism about transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization. We are very pleased that many people in civil society and in business in Gauteng do not share the pessimism and cynicism that some of the members of this House have displayed during the debate. There's general excitement and enthusiasm about the future of Gauteng, and we have put the only viable plan to move Gauteng forward. Honorable Dlamini, you raised very specific issues pertaining to the conditions in the hostels and in the townships, and you correctly pointed out that during the last SOPA, we put forward a plan on how we are going to improve them. Honorable Dlamini, the only difficulty I have is that you would have expected 9 months later that there would be full transformation. And you are, Honorable Dlamini, an experienced public representative who knows that things cannot be changed just in 9 months. But we haven't changed our plan to attend to the issues we raised about the need to transform and regenerate the hostels and transform them into family units. Honorable Dlamini, please acknowledge that all the things we said we will do in the first 200 days, we have done them. And none of those things was that by the end of 200 days, all this would have been done. We put a report before this House on the 5th of December. And in that report, we outlined what we have been doing to unlock the delays in completing and handing over infrastructure in schools, in hospitals, including houses. We also outlined that we launched the Rapid Response Service Delivery War Room and SEP of 500,000. We also indicated that we have adopted now a township economy revitalization strategy and consulted extensively with the people, civil society, and industry on the key priorities that informed the delivery of SOPA on Monday. I want to say our commitment to the plight of hostel residents in our province to ensure that their full integration into the townships remains. In fact, we have a plan to deal with and resolve the current impasse, Honorable Dlamini, of many unoccupied and unallocated hostels that have already been converted into family units. But you know what the issue is about the hostel residents who feel it is not fair for them to pay when township people have been given free RDP houses. We are attending to this matter, and please work with us to resolve this vexed problem. Honorable Van Staden also raised concerns on the lack of timeframes in the plan and the situation in hospitals, the question of crime, corruption among law enforcement officers like the Metro Police. Honorable Van Staden, Yedelakbare, I welcome the inputs and further invite you to work with us without fear that if we succeed, this may erode your electoral support. Success is for the people, not for electoral gain. Madam Speaker, let me thank the Chief Whip, Honorable Brian Hlongwa, MEC Mamabulo, MEC Nandi Matula Koza, MEC Nkosi, Honorable Kawe, and Honorable Ngube for their kind words of encouragement and their contribution to the robust debate yesterday. They've really helped a great deal in explaining the direction of our province over the next 4 to 15 years. It used to be over the next 5 to 15 years. Honorable Chwaku has raised a concern about the functioning of the township hubs, which he referred to, particularly Motlhakeng and Winterveld. He also called for the nationalization of banks and mines and the expropriation of land without compensation, a policy of his party which we fully understand. Of course, he fell short of calling for a referendum on these matters, as his colleague, Honorable Ntobeng, thinks the most radical idea from the EFF is to call for a referendum on e-tolls, not a referendum on the nationalization of banks and mines and the expropriation of land without compensation. So we are now told that a referendum on e-tolls is the most radical tenet of the EFF's policies, no longer nationalization and expropriation. Haibo, what has happened to the self-professed revolutionary party? Honorable Ntobeng says his understanding of radical is the use of a referendum. What a profound lack of depth. Jose Marti, that legendary revolutionary of the Bolivarian and Cuban Revolution, said, he had this to say, Jose Marti, "He who does not see things in their depth should not call himself a radical, because slogans and insults cannot define what is a radical." Other members of the EFF participated more through hailing insults, disruption, and taking instructions from some members of the official opposition. This is a major disappointment. It's a major disappointment. Because I would have expected a more robust left-wing critique and a progressive agitation from the EFF about the TMR being taken in the more radical direction. If disruption and insult is the best the EFF can contribute to Gauteng, then cry our beloved province. Madam Speaker, let me now deal with a matter of e-tolls. I want to reaffirm what I said on Monday regarding the fact that we are working with national government to address the negative social impact of e-tolls on the low and middle income groups in our province, as well as to simplify the payment system in line with the user pay principle. This was affirmed by the Minister of Finance, Honorable Nene, during his budget speech on the 25th of February this year. Honorable members, some of you have called for a referendum on e-tolls. I'm sure you will agree that we have many fundamental structural problems which we must face as a province. Honorable Chakwe has called for the nationalization of banks and mines and the expropriation of land without compensation. Indeed, this is a fundamental question, Honorable Chakwe. Honorable Sindani says he will occupy any vacant land forcefully from the 6th of April 2015, the date on which Jan van Riebeck arrived on our shores. I have a great deal of respect to anything Honorable Sindani says, because he always says it briefly, succinctly, and shortly without any disruption. I therefore take seriously your threat, Honorable Sindani. That's not a joke. There's nothing you say that is a joke, Honorable Sindani. And I can assure you we will be ready on the 6th of April. To prevent any campaign of land grab, unless if you call for a referendum and you win the referendum on this, you together with your colleagues on the right. Honorable Van Staden, what do you think people will say in a referendum with regard to expropriation of land without compensation? Honorable Bloom, what do you think the people of Alexander and Diepsloot will say in a referendum about whether they want to live in the mansions of Sandton, Africa's richest square mile? Should we have a referendum to ask them this question? Honorable Campbell, Dr. Campbell, what do you think black people will say in a referendum about the ownership and concentration of wealth in few white hands and the domination of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange by one section of the population? Honorable members, the ANC does not believe in a government through a referendum, because this is not applied anywhere where the opposition is in charge in South Africa. The DA is not practicing this approach anywhere where it is in charge. Government through referendum. Well, the EFF may as well want a referendum on everything, although they are not principled enough to call for a referendum on the key issues I referred to earlier, which are the tenets of their policies. The ANC is not a populist party that rides on a wave of anger and frustration created by the e-tolls, which we fully understand. We seek to find a lasting and sustainable solution that provides serious financial relief to those low and middle income motorists who use the Gauteng Freeway Improvements Scheme roads. Accordingly, the ANC-led government will continue to address all the fundamental challenges and the structural problems facing our society and our economy in a manner that is sustainable, equitable, and participatory. As a governing party, we have a plan to take Gauteng province forward. We are now turning our full attention to implementation. Many people out there believe in our plan. Many in this house also believe in our plan because they have put no alternative on the table. So I would like to conclude by asking the following question, which is a rhetorical question. Outside the clamor on e-tolls, where is your alternative plan, Honorable Moody? Beyond the e-tolls, what is your plan, Honorable Mashiko? I implore all of you to join us in soiling our hands to make our plan a reality in our lifetime. And let all doubting Thomases and cynics remain behind. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Another Premier.
Thank you, members. Let me remind all departments, in particular MECs, to submit your APPs. Today is your deadline. Please make it a point that before end of business we have received that. We also noted a leave of absence that was submitted by Honorable Mpisi, who is still off sick, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and Honorable Disolwanwet to attend to urgent family business. Colleagues, yesterday I promised that I was going to report back regarding the issue of Honorable Mashiko in terms of the conduct and the allegations that she made in the House. And we even requested that she should actually come to the office so that we can talk about the matter so that she substantiate her allegation. Unfortunately, she failed to come. I'm now writing a letter. I think the letter should be on her. She should have received the letter by this morning so that she can provide written response. And the deadline is Monday, the 2nd of March. After that, I'll be able to come back to the House and report about our way forward. Because, colleagues, we can't actually allow a situation where we insult each other in the House. We can't also allow a situation where we compromise the decorum of the House by our conduct. Remember, the people of Gauteng have hope on us. People have been, you have been voted to represent the people, not to come and make a circus of the House. So thank you very much. We have come to the end of our meeting. The meeting is adjourned until on Tuesday, the 3rd of March at 10 hours. Thank you very much.